Good night, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wife for Life. I am your host, Demi Stewart, and I just want to do a little housekeeping. So, WIFER stands for Wife Healed, Empowered, Restored. We are a community of women across all marital statuses, and our number one goal is for women to become the optimal version of themselves, the women that God always intended for them to be. And in doing that, we provide many opportunities for personal development and growth throughout the year. And so every month we have a day of prayer and fasting, and we also have a focus of the month every single month. And for the month of January, our focus is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. And so, with it being entrepreneurship, we have had a series of speakers throughout the segment. And tonight we have none other than Miss Thea Ebony, aka, well, actually that's her aka. She is Thea Saunders. And let me tell you a little bit about Thea. So I'll just bring Thea on with me right now. Hey
Hi.
Thea. So Thea and I actually go way back, way back
Way
to
back.
grade six.
Mhm.
And so we actually have had the opportunity to watch each other grow up, so to speak. She knew me before a lot of people knew who I was,
Yep.
before I moved to NASA, all of that, and likewise with her. And so I have had the opportunity of being in a position to watch her grow, watch her build a brand, a reputable brand, the Thea Ebony brand, and do so many amazing things through her strategy. So by day, she works in corporate, she's a banker, but every opportunity, every 24/7, she is a creative, she's a digital content creator, and she is a brand strategist. Let's just put it out there. Even if you don't call yourself that, you know that you are a brand strategist. Marketing just comes so naturally to her. And so tonight we're talking about monetizing your personal brand and how many followers do or less. I guess numbers matter. So let's talk about where you are in terms of numbers.
On Instagram, I have 9,800. I think it's 9,820 to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
Um, YouTube is 20,500. And Facebook following, I would say about 2,000, but I have a number of pages on Facebook, so that varies. But yeah, that's how many followers I do have
Okay, so
currently.
let's talk about you have the branding behind you. So she's serious about her brand, just a little lean. So,
Very.
so she is serious about her brand, the Ebony brand. And let's talk about you launching onto Instagram and when you first realized that I could actually monetize this thing. I could actually make this thing a legit side hustle.
I knew I could monetize my brand the moment YouTube emailed me and said, hey, your brand can be monetized. They were like, hey, you've qualified for monetization. And I was like, oh, really? What to do next? Because I, as a Bahamian, I could not do it, or how would I get paid if I'm not an American? And so what I did was I just followed the steps of the email. And as a banker, that also helped knowing how to do wire transfers, how to put it in the system, what questions to ask. Do I need an intermediary bank? I think that's how to pronounce it. And basically I did. So I went to
Mhm.
my local bank where I worked at the time, which would have been Commonwealth Bank. I could disclose that. And I got the wiring information. I input it into the Google Ads system, and basically it was very easy. Of course, charges would come out for wires, and I got my first check.
Mhm. That's interesting because I know that today it's not as easy in terms of being outside of the US to monetize on YouTube.
I think I missed a little point, but to also get monetized, they're going to actually post mail you a pin. And that pin actually got lost twice, but it's the same pin when it gets lost. So
Mm.
when I finally got it on the third round, I was like, Mommy, you didn't get anything in the mail. You didn't get anything in the mail. And I continued asking, and eventually they got it. So that was one of the main things that I needed to actually monetize for
So
Google
you
Ads.
you didn't think about building a brand on Instagram. It was through your YouTube content.
Right.
That okay, so let's talk about how you even got to the position to say, let me post on YouTube. What do I even post onto YouTube?
Okay, so early on when I decided to cut my hair, I was very, very shy. I wasn't confident with my hair at all. And one day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go natural. I transitioned for a while, I'd say about 4 to 6 months. And my hair it was really hard for me. So I decided to cut it, and I was watching a lot of natural hair YouTubers trying to get tips to do my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to, be a little bit more confident with my hair. So after I cut it, I was like, okay, let me just show everyone so that when I do go to work or when I do go out, it's not like a shock or it makes me feel insecure. And that's how I really
Mm.
started. I didn't start where I wanted to be paid or I just wanted to make this money. No, it was like, hey, I need to come into my own almost. That's how it was
So
initially.
it was an authentic journey of let me learn how to do my hair, let me document this process, and in
Yeah.
doing so, you got that ping from YouTube to say, "Hey, honey, we like this. This is what you're doing, and we want that." And that's awesome. That's the best way to be because we always want people to be authentic in how they present themselves on social media. I think that is so important to be your authentic self. And I think, again, I don't have a huge following, but the reason I do so well, I think, is because I have an authentic page
You
that
do.
it's me. So
Mhm.
and so I mean I really resonate with that when people are the same across platforms and you're the same in real life as you come across on social media, which is always awesome. So for those watching, it's important that your brand first and foremost is built off of authenticity, your
Mhm.
authentic self. And hi, we can see your comments, so thank you. And you're welcome to ask questions anytime throughout this discussion. We will put it onto the screen. We're going to flag
Mhm.
it and we'll get to your questions. So I do have a series of questions here. We already talked about your journey into social media. We talked about what inspired you, that email to say, hey, girl, you can do this. And then, like, let's talk about when you started to pitch to brands. Or was it that brands started to reach out to you first? How was that connection?
Okay, well, initially when because I was doing natural hair content, I would buy products.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is the best way to have a brand notice you or to have a brand want to work with you. One, you genuinely love the product.
Mm-hmm.
Two, um, you've used the product before and you show genuine interest in the brand. So I started using products and I just would tag the brand in different things or different videos that I would do or on YouTube or on Instagram. And over time, of course, some brands they like visuals. So if you put in that work with your digital content, most times the brand would reach out to you. I've gotten numerous emails from different brands that I even did not work with. And sometimes it's good to also take on brands that will not pay you, and at this point where I'm at, I may be like, hey, I need to be paid. But initially I was more like, you know what, I'll just do it. Send me the product and I'll do it in exchange for, so people can notice me, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess you're not losing in a sense because you have product to review and you're creating content on your YouTube, which is making
Mhm.
money, And so now, what about establishing your worth when you go from, okay, I'll take your product, I'll take your exposure. I think was it you shared that meme where like you're like, I'm making a meal out of exposure and there was nothing in the bowl. Um, So, like, when you move from that point where, okay, we could do free for a while, but when I have to, like, really recognize my worth. And so I guess that blends into your media kit when you start to present people with my digits, with my insights, how my brand is doing, how many people I get to click into this and actually go and purchase from you. So, how do you, like, level up in that sense to say, I need to get paid now and you need to give me coins?
Okay, so when I noticed that when I felt like I needed to be paid was when, honestly, when I started to get higher views, when my Instagram videos were
Mm-hmm.
being reposted did when my low faux bun video hit 1 million views. Even though I was being
Yeah.
paid for that content on YouTube, I knew at that point, okay, brands are going to reach out, and that means I'm wanted. And so if you notice that you're now wanted from multiple brands, that means it's time to create your resume for influencers or your resume for creatives, which is a media kit. So your media kit is technically, like I said, a resume for bloggers, influencers, anybody creative. And that will give your media kit basically tells you or tells the brand that you have how many followers, your insights, your detailed insights, your reach, who you're reaching, where you're reaching them, a little bit about yourself, and your prices. Usually that's most of what the media kit would have on it. And in a nice way, you basically just respond. And a lot of times they let you know their budget off the bat, off straight up. And they'll let you know, hey, can we send you this product in exchange? And if you can't, you simply say in a nice, courteous way, in a professional manner, I don't mind working with you as, whatever brand. Or, for example, hi, Zemi of Wifer. I love your brand and I would be happy to work with you. However, attach this my media kit and you can take a look at it and maybe we can discuss your budget or something like that. That way, even though your media kit may have a specific price, it's easy to work with someone. Sometimes brands do have a small budget, and especially if it's a smaller company. And sometimes it may be beneficial to the brand to work with you and for you to work with them. So if you can, negotiate prices is really, really good. Even though your media kit may have a $500 digital video for Instagram, that may be your price. But if the brand seems to be doing well, great aesthetic, the insights is high when you check out the Instagram, why not negotiate the price? And that's how I usually do it if a brand reaches out to me with my media kit.
So if you were talking to a micro influencer, let's say they have between 1,000 to 5,000 followers. Where should they start to say, this is my price? Like, what number should they be doing that's not too low, not too high, or like a safe, comfortable number for a newbie?
Even though you're looking at the number count as a micro influencer, you can also look at insights because that will basically separate how much you can charge from what. It'll separate the person who should take free product from the person who should charge a specific price,
And what do you mean by that in terms of insights?
Insights would mean all of your Instagram, YouTube analytics, all of the analytics that will show you how many page visits you have, impressions, things like that. So a lot of times smaller influencers don't really think about it that way, but I can probably get more brand deals than someone with 20,000 followers.
The Hog Island coming out.
I can probably get more brand deals from than a person who has 20,000 followers and I have 9,800. So you have to think about it in that way. And the difference between me and that person may be, one, I can edit well. Two, I have really clean videos to show the product. Three, my insights might be high. I may post a video and I could get 5,000 plus views and it'll be repostable. Than the person who has 20,000 and the quality is basic, it's just okay. And I think that's how a lot of brands, and I know for a fact, Courtney Adelaide, she looks at quality versus numbers.
Because she wants to know how good your content is for her to go on her pages.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so that is great. But you didn't give me a figure though.
Okay, so for figure, I would charge I would charge if my insights are pretty good. And what I mean by pretty good is versus if I have 5,000 followers and I'm receiving 500 plus likes, I would charge for an Instagram edited, dedicated video because that is a difference. Sometimes we can either just tag the brand. The caption could be all about the brand, and or you can versus like you just tag the brand, but it may not just be all about the brand, but a dedicated
Mm-hmm.
video where my caption is all about the brand with about 5,000 followers and you have really good content, you can charge about $150 for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's time, it's backdrop, it's
Yeah.
lighting,
Mm-hmm.
makeup, it's time again. So the all the time that you take to edit your video, you could charge about $150, and I think that's a good price
To
um,
start.
to charge, especially if you have good content.
Yeah, that's a good. So those out there who have good content and they're wondering where should I start, that is a good figure for you. Okay, so we talked a little bit about micro influencers, but what tips in general could you give them? Is the media kit a must have if they want to work with a brand? Or can a
Yes.
brand just say, I look up? She's like, no, no, that's it. Okay, what else? What
Yes.
else do they need to know?
I think a brand, I mean, I think an influencer needs a media kit for several reasons. One, to remember your prices. You don't want to tell one
Hmm.
brand this because you feel like you need this today and then somebody else something else. But your media kit is standard and it gives everything. You don't have to go through your details of your YouTube analytics every single time you
Hmm.
speak.
Hmm.
Your media kit is standard and you can update it every time you feel like you may have a lull in insights or it goes down a little bit, or you may have an increase in your insights or analytics, whereas you may be getting reposted more, your impressions are higher. So you want to amend that maybe every month or as you see fit. You can
Hmm.
change it and just shoot it over to a brand. It's easier. It's standard. You don't know where it can take you. I can probably share. I see the cat. I can probably share my media kit with one company, or I can share it with, say, someone who's the marketing in charge of the marketing department, and they
Hmm.
may end up working with another brand, and they may just have my media kit ready, and they can reach out to me because they know what I charge. So I think the
So when
media
they
kit
have
is
the budget,
necessary.
they'll be able to get, yeah, definitely.
So
Okay, so
it's transferable, yeah.
what about YouTubers? A lot of people think that YouTube is a hard space to get into now in terms of growing your following. Is it that you definitely have to set a schedule to do? You guys gotta forgive me for my pets. Do you really have to set a set schedule to grow on YouTube, or can I post whenever I feel inspired, once the quality is good, once my content is engaging?
Take it from me, who stopped being as consistent as I should. Consistency is very, very, very important with YouTube because so many people are in the space.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. But I've realized though, some videos that you think of off your head and you say, hey, I'm going to go film this, they may do better than your planned videos because sometimes the energy is different, the
Mm-hmm.
interest is there. That may be what's
Mm-hmm.
viral at the time, anything. And that's similar to TikTok. And influencers are now, that's actually also on your media kit. People are charging for TikTok videos now. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're interested, if you went viral on TikTok, include that on your media kit. People actually charge for that now. So it's places to make money.
So
Yeah,
is
so
you
it's
think
not as
TikTok
hard
and is
to
the
grow on it's
go
not hard
ahead.
to grow on YouTube. I think it's about really and truly getting persons interested in what you're talking about. It's about being natural. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
follow Kayla Nicole, I think is her name. She's the most natural YouTuber. She's someone, no makeup, no weave, hardly no doesn't care about her background, none of that, and she is millions of views every day, every time she posts a video. And I think it's because she's so natural and nothing important, to be honest, as she's saying,
Mm-hmm.
but people just, I think, gravitate toward her because she's so natural in herself. But YouTube is definitely a place where you have to be consistent, especially if you're doing a lot of things that everyone else is doing. So in the beauty space and in hair space, I think those two spaces are the most crammed. and maybe gaming might be crammed as well. So those three spaces
Mm-hmm.
in YouTube, you really have to be consistent. And when you see something viral or a new product that seems to be very, very popular and everyone is talking about it, try to get your hand on the product to do your review fast. If that is what your content is usually about.
So if I want to excel as an influencer, do I have to be on every platform? Do I have to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse to really see my brand grow?
Um, Everyone no, but to me, being an influencer is what you're good at. If you're not really good at communicating on Clubhouse and you're not going to be on there talking, then I don't feel like it's something that you have to do. I feel like Clubhouse is a space where if you're not popular already and your following does not follow you there, or someone you know who has a large following anyway is going to add you into that conversation as almost like a speaker in the conversation, I feel like it's a bit hard to be noticed on Clubhouse. But I feel like I really do like Clubhouse for several other reasons because I know people who blew up on Clubhouse like that just by ended up being a speaker. So it depends. It depends on what you like to do as an influencer. If you feel it's necessary, if your followers are even asking, hey, can we have a group on Clubhouse? Let's chat. Usually your following and your supporters let you know what they like. They always do. And
Mm.
they let you know if they're interested in your content. They let you know if they want to have like a group. They let you know if they like you talking about your island. They let you know every single thing. So you can even ask, what do you think about me joining Clubhouse? Do you want to hear from me on Clubhouse? And they will let you know. And if you get a good
But
response, why not?
I think you have to be careful with, I mean, as a content consumer as well. It
Mhm.
depends on the level. Like someone who has, like, as with your following, you have a broad base of a lot of people who follow you don't actually know you, like face to face. You have a lot of followers in North America, etc. But for some people, when all of their following primarily knows them and they ask the question, what do you want from me? It's almost like, what do you mean what we want from you? We just want you. so so you have to be considerate when you pose that question of who your audience is. Sometimes they just like, like we just I don't know what you're asking me.
Mhm.
Like audience matters, and you have to know your audience, who you're marketing to, and where to ask that question. It may be that you could just do a Google search and look at what content does well instead of posing it to the audience. So for you, it may work, but for some people at a
Mhm.
certain level, you shouldn't be asking your 998 followers what we want from you. Maybe only
Pardon my
40 of them see your post, 20 of them see your post. You should be going to Google and saying, Google, what should I post more of? What kind of content should I do?
that
And they
that
say, yeah.
that can work
I just
for
saying, like sometimes I see the question and I'm like, what do you mean?
but sometimes, okay, for example, I may be a person who posts a lot of hair content and maybe they want to see because today I dress nicely.
Mm,
They may want to see style content instead of, and not just me being on a different social media platform. And it can also help you with delivering content to those persons. You may get a lot more likes on a fashion or style clothing post. And you'll be like, okay, I don't really post this, but I posted it today and I got so many likes. Maybe they would want to see a style haul from me. And then maybe
but
you
then
can
they
put a
don't ask the question though. They wouldn't ask the question. They would look at their insights. And I think that's the difference. At a certain level,
uh-huh.
you only need to be looking at your insights and being like, oh, should I try this again? And
Yeah,
you
you can.
collecting the data. So it depends. Like if you feel that way with your audience, if you feel that way with your following, definitely ask the question. It depends how you ask the question. So you could put a little poll, or you could do a question. You could do like multiple choice. So you just it's all about getting information. So hi Juliet. I don't know if you want to do a shout out. Did you? So I'm just gonna show you guys. So if I go on my post, right, and I go to insights, because I have a creator page or a business page, I can see, okay,
Mhm.
y'all can't really see. Y'all can't really see, but I can see that this post got 146 likes, Someone saved it, 4 comments, 30 profile visits, and it reaches 1,303. So,
Mhm.
like, so you'll be able to see like how is my post doing. You could also go into the three little lines on the side, and you see insights, and you guys could go on your phone if you want, and you could see how many accounts you reach, how many interactions. And sometimes I go into my post, and it
Mhm.
shows you what posted the best over a certain time period. So based on my grid, this one I boosted. So based on my grid, people like to see me with my husband, pretty much me with my husband, and sometimes the posts that I write. So I write a lot of text content. But based
Mhm.
on my insights, people prefer pictures. So
Mhm.
if I really was considerate about people on my profile, I would post more pictures, but I am a word-based person, so I post what is authentic to me. So that's just an example for you guys of how can you find out without having to pose the question. And
Yep.
so, do you have any?
Other
Let me
tips?
see. I just joined with it. Oh, sorry. I was talking about insights. So tonight we're talking about monetizing your personal brand. Our guest speaker is Thea Saunders, aka Thea Ebony, who is an influencer across Instagram, across YouTube. You also, I don't know the numbers on TikTok because I'm not on TikTok, but I know you're on TikTok, blowing it up. And she also has, and a part of the reason I really wanted Thea on tonight is because she launched a boutique, and she launched a boutique in a very creative way to the point where she had excellent sales on her launch. So that's what we're getting to in this conversation in terms of I had this following and I leveraged my following in such a way that when I decided to launch a business, it was successful straight out the gate. Like I could
Mhm.
tell you myself, I launched a boutique and I didn't follow the steps, and the results were not the same. And so, and there's a difference. There's a difference when you be strategic in terms of how you launch, and how you really leverage what you have going on, your followers, your supporters, in terms of making a venture successful. So that's ultimately the conversation that we're gonna get to tonight. So we
Okay.
talked about um, micro influencers on Instagram. We talked about YouTube. We talked about YouTube and the importance of a posting schedule. We talked about a media kit. You said you gotta have one. If you want to be an influencer, if you want to work with brands, you have to have a media kit. You have to have your numbers laid out. Now let's talk. We did talk a little bit about reaching out to brands. You said most of the time they reach out to you, but like when you actually go to a brand, is it an email? Is it a DM? Is it a phone call? How do you reach out to the brands that you work with?
I would reach out. It's a must if you reach out via email. Now, here's a trick for those persons who are interested in pitching and probably don't have the money at the time to use a product or anything like that. There's a trick where persons you go on LinkedIn and they find social media marketing managers and persons like that that they can reach out to. They can there send their media kit to them, find personal emails or work emails. And because, of course, maybe a media kit or your email may get lost in a very big brand Instagram attached email. And in
Mm-hmm.
most cases, sometimes they may have the what you call it, like a customer service email attached to the Instagram email. So
Mm-hmm.
people use LinkedIn as a really good way to
Oh,
find brands.
wow. Okay.
Yes. Use LinkedIn to find social media marketing managers. And if you're even looking for persons to manage you when you get to that point, if you have a
Mm-hmm.
really good following, that's a good place and space. You can use Instagram and, persons that you follow who are in your niche. You
Mm-hmm.
can see who their marketing managers are or who manages them. And I've been following a few persons and I'm like, maybe when I get back into creating digital content and I'm have a little bit more flexible to create content, I'll definitely reach out to this company because I'd like them to manage me,
Mm-hmm.
or and stuff like that. So LinkedIn is a really good, you utilize LinkedIn for that. So that's
Your
the answer to your
connection cut
question.
out. Your connection cut out just a tiny little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
on the repeat your last sentence again.
I don't know where it cut off, but I was saying it's a really good LinkedIn is a really good place if you're
Yeah,
looking
we.
for to manage you, or if you're looking to find a brand's marketing manager.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's a really good place you can send your, or maybe find a more direct email.
Okay, so we go to Juliet. Thank you for your question. Juliet, you asked if there's more. So if it's more about the insights than likes, how will you start to monetize if brands also look at your following or slash numbers?
Your likes also translates into your insights as well. So how will you start to monetize if brands look at your following and numbers? Your way of monetizing is basically giving them a proper budget to work with you. Your insights matter because that is the reason now you have your media kit. So when you send your media kit over, they can say, okay, this person has 5,000 followers, but she has 500 likes per post. That is really good
Mhm.
because you have some people who have 20,000 followers who don't have as many likes. And that is why the insights are important and your media kit. So they can look at the demographics and they can look at the wider picture using your media kit. How will you start to monetize if brands also look at your following numbers? They also look at your following and your numbers. They do. Some brands do, and maybe they at the time they look at they may be looking for a certain number of followers per influencer, and it's okay. That may just not work for you at the time. And you just work toward it and work with brands or who's looking for smaller influencers at the time. And also, there are websites that you can go on to find brands that are willing to work with smaller influencers or influencers like yourself or anybody with a certain amount of followers. So what I would suggest is you can Google it. There are Gab Influencer. Gab Influencer, I think, is one of the websites that you can go on, and those like that basically post content for different brands and they reach out to influencers for the brand. So they have websites that actually find influencers for different brands. So that is a good way. And they also mention how many followers they need. Hey, 10,000 followers. We're looking for a person to promote this skincare brand. And you can actually go there, fill out a Google form, put in your information, your Instagram, um, how many followers you have, what you would like to be paid, or sometimes they mention what the price is they're willing to pay already. So you can use websites like that, and that's a good way to pitch as well if you're not interested in uploading a media kit or reaching out to a brand manually. I would say manually, like detailed. So you got
Is
that,
it
Demi?
is it Gap talent.com?
No, it's Gab Influence. Let me see. I don't want to come. Let me go on my phone.
Okay,
It's
so
a
I
few
have
of
this
them.
other question here. Again, for those who are joining, my name is Demi Stewart. This is Wiper, which stands for Wife Healed, Empowered, Restored. We focus to all women, and it's our purpose is really to create opportunities for continuous self-development so that you become the optimal version of yourself, the woman that God always intended for you to be. Our focus of the month for the month of January is entrepreneurship. So all month long, we've been talking with amazing women who are in the entrepreneurship lane. Maybe not primarily. We have some people who are mega side hustlers, but that is what we've been doing this month. And so tonight we have Thea Ebony on the line, and she is sharing how to monetize your personal brand. How to monetize your personal brand. Thank you, Jane. She said, y'all are so beautiful. And she said, yeah, Thea. But we do have this question. It
Mhm.
is, where did you get your sign? So again, lean to the side, let them see your sign. So she is all about brand from beginning to the end. And even you have on your brand tonight, right, Thea? You have
Yes,
on your Afro chill.
I
Yes.
can't wait. I can't wait to get my stuff. I will be literally branded. Stay tuned for that.
So again, like Thea has a clothing line that is doing awesome, all about luxe loungewear, comfy luxe loungewear. So I can't wait to get my hands on some since I am back in where I could get free shipping, not free shipping, but not
Mhm.
duty. Okay, so where did you get your sign? Did you get it locally or you had distribute it?
Yeah, I actually got it locally done. What's the company's called? I can't remember, but you can always, this is actually styrofoam and it's sprayed. So you can get a Junkanoo person to do this for you if you wish, if you're looking for something like this, and they can just carve it out. I think it's painted with some sticky substance and then sprayed, and that's it.
Okay, and I said, what recording equipment do you use for your videos?
Oh, I use a 4 point setup. Sometimes a light is behind me when I used to use the backdrop. I used to use a light behind me to give that glow effect, but I use soft boxes, a overhead box, and a ring light. You don't need that anymore. That's if you're starting out, don't feel
Mm-hmm.
forced to get all of these things. Don't feel forced. You need your ring light. I would get a ring light or on a directional two, maybe like two directional lights. It's like a two little lights. You can get them off Amazon, very inexpensive, maybe $40 or so. You can
Mm-hmm.
get two directional lights here and a ring light, and that's all you need, and a phone. You don't have to have this type of phone either. I started out with my iPhone 7, so you don't need an expensive phone. You just need a phone that is going to give you a clear video. And in editing, there's so many apps that you can edit with. It takes time to want and the drive to want to learn how to do it. You can use your phone to edit. You don't have to download Final Cut Pro and spend $300. You can
Mm-hmm.
start from something small if you're really interested. That's it.
Awesome. So if you can find those links, we'll drop them in the caption tonight,
Mm-hmm.
or tomorrow. We'll drop those links in the caption. If you come back to the video, you can see them. But let's talk. So you're still island based, and you're
Mm-hmm.
launching a platform, and some people may feel I can't do this because I'm on an island. I am not where my market is. So how do you combat those kind of limiting beliefs that say I can't do this, I can't compete in this space?
You could do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
You can do whatever you
Abundance
want.
mindset. That's called, ladies and gents, abundance
Yeah,
mindset.
abundance mindset. Um, what would I say? What would I say to persons who want to do things that is more international? Look at those persons that are doing it and try to do it better than them. Yes, it may be a little
Mm,
difficult. Yes, it may be a little more difficult. And you may feel like, oh, I can't do this. But you don't know how much resources you have until you actually start. I didn't know I could have been monetized on YouTube until YouTube messaged me. You understand what I'm saying? YouTube, because I was just posting videos. Hey, I don't
yeah.
know, I could be monetized. Okay, so let me just click it and see where it's going to take me. So I clicked on the
Hmm.
email. They asked me to put in my address information. I did that. I put in my P.O. box information. I did that. And I just kept calling to find out, hey, mommy, did you receive my anything in the mail for me? A pin. And I was in Nassau when actually my parents got the pin and they read off the pin and I put it in. I told my sister to take a picture. She sent it to me and I put it into the system. It takes a lot of reading, and with doing anything in America, I just feel like you really have to read. You have to read and know the details. YouTube,
Hmm.
even analytics, you have to read and contracts. When you're working with brands, they're going to send you contracts. And I know locally we're not accustomed to doing things that way all the time. But
Hmm.
it's very, very important to get into the habit of wanting a brand, even locally, give you a contract, read up on it, and things like that. So when brands do approach you, you don't be shocked or taken aback by, hey, oh my God, it's a contract. I'm afraid. Basically, you read the rules and you read the details. You give the people what they're asking for if you agreed. And if you can't do it, just let them know you can't do it.
Hmm.
Sometimes, okay, and one of my hardships when I started being an influencer was receiving product because we have the border, the line. We have to do
Customs,
customs
VAT,
duty.
all that.
When they
Yeah.
send me a product, I need a
Hmm.
quote and all that stuff. That was the hardest part, and especially when there's a campaign going on for a brand. For example, I could call the brand's name. It was Camille Rose at the time. Um, they reached out to me and they sent me their box of goodies and all that stuff for me to use in a video. And it was a sponsored post. It was sponsored at the time. And when they reached out to me, I agreed to do it. And I was like, you know what? I can't lose this. And in the contract, it said 2 weeks. Can I do this in the next? It's the package is on the way from I say I can do it. Will you be able to do it? Me, I was like, I can't lose this. I can do it. I could do it. In my mind, I was like, yeah, man, I could do it. I see how fast, how long this is going to take. The person emailed, the address is this. This is where they're located. It shouldn't take that long to reach in Florida for me to get the package. So what happened was I knew I was traveling back at a certain time, but I didn't even receive that package until I was off the island. And I brought out the content in the second batch of influencers when I was supposed to be in the first batch of influencers, because I don't know if you remember, they had this big curl crush party and everybody at the time, they had at least 20 plus influencers that were dropping content at the same time. And I was in a part of the first part because I didn't receive the product. So I emailed and I told them, hey, I will not be able to give you this content because I did not get the content in time. She said she missed the part where we are talking about the difficulty working with brands while being here in the Bahamas. She said it's lagging.
You want to switch to your data on your computer?
Okay, let's see if that'll work.
That's another thing with working. Okay, so I'll just do a little bit of recap. I see a question here. I'll just give Thea a second. So, okay, I see a question here saying, not sure if you spoke about this, but in terms of posting consistently, is it necessary to post every day, or is it more useful to only post when linking followers to a blog or video? So, Thea, posting every day. I think you're talking about Instagram. I think this is posting to Instagram.
Hold on, let me see if I'm connected. You can hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, because this thing is not saying it's connected yet, and I just wanted to make sure. Not sure if you've spoken this already, but in terms of posting consistently, is it necessary to post every? Okay, that I'll just leave it as Wi-Fi because it's not connecting to my phone. Not every day, but 5 times a week.
So
if you post every day, more than likely you'll be shown more in the person's feed. If you use Instagram, you will see, you know, on the business side of the Instagram in the chat. I don't know if you see Zemi on your phone. It will have followers shown most in feed and then least in feed. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, I don't know where to go.
If you click your followers, I think it will show you who follow you, who's shown most in feed versus who's shown least in feed. Click your followers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
It shows that, right?
So, yeah, so that means I show up the most in their feed, or they show up the most in my feed?
They show up the most in your feed. So if I go to my own, I can see who all shows up the most in my feed or who shows up the least in my feed. And they point that out. It's very important now because everything is so saturated. You kind of have to post every day. And I know that is my problem. So I can speak from experience. When I was not employed and I was doing this by myself, I used to post literally every day. I had more time on my hand. I used to find something to post every day, and my videos would go more viral on Instagram. Sometimes I think some of my videos with my hair, I'd get 50,000 views on an Instagram video. And now it's like, are you shadow banning me? That's how I feel.
Yeah. But what about, like, okay, so you don't post to your feed every day. What about a story? Like, in some way you're interacting with the app every day, even if it's not necessarily on my feed?
So what I've been doing is I've been using a VPN, right? And the VPN would give me more of an opportunity to reach, more persons. So I can now
Mhm.
use Instagram Reels and using the stories. So with using my stories, a quick tip is to use about six hashtags. You can actually use hashtags in your story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, you can use hashtags and like make it cute, like by hiding it. You can make it small, small, put it behind a photo. Um,
Mm.
so that's a little tip. You can do that and maybe post like a location, like somewhere random. Post a random location, and it actually causes your story to be highlighted or explored. So that is
Oh,
good,
wow. Okay, that's
right?
a great tip, guys. So
Mm-hmm.
let me just say it again. Let me type it in the
Stop,
comments.
stop showing me that. So
So hashtags,
stories is good too.
hashtags on stories and location.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got that? I hope y'all writing some notes because that is a gem right there. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
want to move into launching this business. So you have a platform, you have these loyal followers, you have people who engage with your content, like you've been viral a few times. But for some people, that's as far as it goes. But you leveraged your following, your community, and you was able to get those people to follow your brand. So let's talk about that. Your strategies to get people over to your business page because that's not easy. She's like, should
Okay.
I drop my
So what I did, and it's very important to pay attention to your audience, your target audience. And so this would be for your business, your target audience for your brand, especially if you're trying to turn over people from your brand to purchase or as consumers. So what I did was I thought about it like this. Hey, okay, I have a natural hair brand. What can I do to now help to collect emails? Because email marketing is really important when you have a product-based business, or even a digital product-based business. You really need those emails. So the way I started to collect emails when I wanted to do a business, because of course now from influencer, especially if you're not like a big influencer, to have persons just say buy all your stuff, it's very important to collect emails. I don't know how much I could stress this, but collecting your emails is important. So the best way I did that was, and the best know-how at the time was to create a blog. And I had my blog for a short period of time. I did a few viral, popular topics that people would probably want to talk about. And I collected a lot of emails. I kept sharing it. I kept posting about it. And what I felt was very important too with my brand and branding is also the look of the brand. And these are the digital parts that I think a lot of people forget. For example, my Thea Ebony poster here is the same font, the same look as my Thea Ebony website font. So everything I took from my YouTube banner has the same font. My YouTube banner, I took that into my website banner or my website photo or header. I took that there. I took it in the back of my video and I posted it here. And this is very important, I feel, for carrying on that look. People want to know that this is your brand. This is Thea Ebony. This is how I find her. So basically, I took each thing, and this is just the digital side of making people remember who you are. And it's kind of like a mind thing, to be honest, and a visual thing. So that's what I did. I took that on everywhere possible. Also, when I said I collected the emails from the blog, let's get back there. I collected the emails from the blog and I made sure keep up with the website. Sometimes we create websites just to do it. Keep up with your website, pay your domain. And what I did after I started the Thea Ebony website, I was thinking about it early pandemic, like really early 2020. And I
Mhm.
wanted to do a boutique store. I already had the name and everything. And my name was actually Chic and Basic 242. And I was like, but that don't have nothing to do with Thea Ebony. Nothing to do with Thea's brand. Nothing to do with natural hair. nothing to do with Thea as a person. And I thought about it even some more, and I was like, man, I gotta find something. The name is then gonna be Fro Chill, because me and my friend was talking about it, and I was like, that ain't really flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I actually, for Fro Chill, I went and I Googled, I searched the domain for Fro Chill. I went on Instagram to make sure the name was available. I did all of that, and I wasn't feeling Fro Chill. It didn't stick. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm always in my Afro. Let's think about it. Afro Chill. I was like,
Yeah.
that sounds better. Afro Chill sounds better. I know what I want to sell. And not only loungewear, I thought about Afro Chill, and this is maybe you can get a vision for where I want Afro Chill to go from this. Afro Chill can go literally from loungewear, chillwear, to houseware. It can go to robes. It can go to socks. It can go from even outside of clothing items, and I can do mugs, anything that will be chill vibes,
Mm-hmm.
or
Even
anything if I
even travel like resort
or even I
wear.
was about to say
Yeah.
that in travel, if I wanted to do any digital books or anything like that, I can do something like that. If I wanted to do itineraries or stuff like that to sell, I can.
Mm-hmm.
So when Afro Chill came about, I did all of my Google. Like I said, I went back again, Instagram, make sure it's available. Let's now secure this. And keep in mind, there's some free things that Wix.com, where I created my Thea Ebony website, they gave me an opportunity to create logos. Once you get a certain package on Wix.com, they gave me a place where I can make my logo. So when I went to go and make the Afro Chill logo on Wix, which I did not use for my Shopify, which I did not use for Afro Chill store, I use Shopify. I was like, I need something that's going to be very cute, very chic to the point, and stands out. And this is what I was thinking about my logo, Afro Chill. Can I find an Afro head? I looked on Google for an Afro head. I was like, okay, people use this. I've seen this before. Look on all of the images, scroll. You have to really do your research. And I feel like that was you good? Okay. I feel like that was the thing with me. I did a lot of research, especially on that Afro head, because you don't want to run into copyright or
That's
trademarking
true.
issues. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't want a lawyer to come and tell you about that and serve you with a cease and desist. So after I found the logo, and found what I wanted to do with the head, I just went and typed Afro Chill. I went through different fonts. Do I like this for the wording? Do I like this? Do I want it to be bigger? Do I want it to be smaller? It's just a visual thing. What you like,
Mm-hmm.
if you like it, you like it now, but you still want it to be clear and to the point. You don't want it to have so much glitter and so many things like that that you can't even carry this logo onto clothing. You know what I mean? You can't stamp your logo anywhere. So that's what I thought about with Afro Chill. So after getting all of that with Afro Chill and dealing with my logo, I had already created the page. And in my mind, I was like, hey, I gotta start posting on this page. Let's start posting some TikTok videos. Let's start reposting people who will maybe look where the things that I'll be selling, some of the things that I'd be selling. In addition to that, also natural hair person. So I was on TikTok looking for persons who had natural hair, who were wearing loungewear clothing that I was about to launch. So things like that is what I really did research on. Now, when it came to all of the back end stuff for Afro Chill, I used Danny and Drew, which is Otishka's company. She basically helped me to bring it to life from
Mm-hmm.
ground up, especially during the pandemic where I couldn't travel as much and I
Mm-hmm.
could not do a lot. And when it came to inventory for Afro Chill, I was already signed up for all of the clothing websites, all of the wholesalers. I was already signed up because I already had intentions on doing the store under another name. And because I was already signed up, I basically knew what I wanted. I knew what the look is. And to be honest, even in launching, because of the pandemic, I feel like I did not launch with exactly what I wanted to give people. I just did it to start, you know, and not all the time you may be happy with everything about your brand. Because if you're a picky creative person, you'll never complete it if you don't start it, you
That
know.
part.
Okay, you will never get to that point because
Don't be a slave to perfection, people. Done is better
don't
than.
don't be afraid to that, because what I did was I had to let go of feeling like I wasn't ready, or feeling
Mhm.
like the brand wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. So I just was like, you know what, let's just let it rip. Let's go. I can do this. Maybe not what I like for me, but others will purchase. So that's how I had to think of others rather than myself in this journey.
But you only could do that if you are a perfectionist. If you are a haphazard, anything goes type of person, and your audience is above you, like, then that probably wouldn't work. But because you are a perfectionist, you like a certain level. So,
Mhm,
it would still be high quality. And if anyone goes onto to the Instagram page, it was still high quality. For us
mhm,
to be like, we didn't even know that this wasn't what you wanted. But there's a few things that stood out. Like you used someone who was based in LA. So Otishka
mhm,
is based in LA to help
mhm,
you in terms of, getting it from the ground up. You did private label. And for those who don't know, private label is when your label is attached to clothes versus like my boutique.
mhm,
I don't mind if we like I treat my boutique like I would treat like a regular store. Like you could
mhm,
walk in and you could see other brands in a store, but I've curated it. But you wanted to be branded because
mhm,
again, we're talking about monetizing your personal brand, and you want to be branded as
mhm.
Afro Chill and everything that comes with developing that brand. So obviously we have two distinct motives here,
Mhm,
but each one, like, you just have to push whichever one you're doing. And so, you decided that you would leverage someone who's away, and you also don't fulfill orders from the Bahamas,
mhm,
because that part, like, you couldn't compete if you not necessarily as easy if you were fulfilling orders from the Bahamas. So talk a
mhm.
little bit about that decision and why you knew upfront that I just probably couldn't make this work, shipping inventory to the Bahamas and trying to execute my brand from here.
It's expensive to clear product here, and then I can't serve everyone. There's
Mm-hmm.
a possibility that Bahamians can buy from my brand, but spend a little more to buy from my brand. I would not be able to ship to the US comfortably at the prices of, having to clear the items to get here and plus ship them back out.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
make a profit. And when people think profit, you guys, it's not just the cost of goods. Thea
right.
has branding. Thea has a website. Thea has staff. She has models. She has campaigns. So she has packaging. So when
Mhm,
you think about what you're actually paying for a product, it's not her product and then the markup. It
mhm.
is her product plus all of these things, and then a little bit for her to say, okay, I made a smart investment.
Right.
So that's why we always talk about support small businesses, because they have so much of these costs that they do
Mhm,
to try to bring a product to market for you as a consumer. So it's always this push to support small businesses because of all of the different costs that we incur to
mhm.
execute. Okay, so you go ahead.
How I knew to do it that way was the possibility. Um, and to be honest with you, I just felt like, okay, I'm a person who purchases online all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy anything I see on Pretty Little Thing, maybe even Forever 21 and all those other stores, Zara, anything, you're just gonna purchase it. So I'm like, if my local people can buy from those brands, why they can't buy from me? That's
Mm-hmm.
what I was saying. And honestly, right up until the day of my launch, that was hurting. I was so afraid that Bahamians would not support me because I did it abroad. And I felt like I can do this one way or the other. Either you can support or you're not going to support. And to be honest with you, while you make smart decisions, you really sometimes have to stick to your gut. And you
Yeah.
really have to say, either you're going to do it or you're not. And that's the way I have to look at it in this way. And the prices were much lower and they were very competitive. I mean, when we went through those details of pricing, we did alternative pricing, we did competitive pricing, we looked at what the pricing is on the market, and we really went through that. to make sure that we gave the best possible price, of course, to get profit. We made sure to do that so that persons could, one, buy, and two, so I can make a profit. So when I look at other big brands, my prices are not bad at all. And I was like, why y'all can't support me? So,
I know, right? And then you also leveraged, I know you went away for a little bit, and I'm assuming when you went away in that short window, you were
mhm,
able to develop like some brand campaigns and stuff like that. Were you actually there when your models were shooting?
mm-mm.
No. Okay.
I know
So,
people thought so, but I wasn't. How that happened was around the time that I did travel, I actually traveled to open a US account because
mm-hmm,
everything was ready, but I didn't have my account and I needed to deal with PayPal. I needed to be able to take payments.
mm-hmm,
And that quick trip really and truthfully, and this wasn't even when I went for my birthday, this was in September. I went to California. I did not go, and I wasn't there for the models because the pictures were actually taken like 2 weeks after that. So the
mm-hmm.
timeline didn't set up really well for me, especially in the pandemic, for me to fly over and get everything done. But Letitia was she was hands-on with the photos, even when it came to model picking. And this is another tip too for branding. For model picking, I did not want two curly hair chicks. Let's be real. I just was like, okay, Denisha, I think is her name. She has a kinky hair fro, nice and free wearing. And I was like, okay, that could rock. And then we have Darbanelle. She did a really, really good job. That was one of the other models. She did a really good job. Um, and honestly, I wanted to be a part of the campaign too, but
Mm-hmm.
I because I couldn't be there. And
And
it
I
would be
think what happens with you not, I mean, with us knowing that it's yours, but seeing other faces, it kind of, in a sense, created credibility in the
mm,
sense that we see people in this, and it's not necessarily just you in the clothing. And so,
mm,
that was still good for a sense. And we can have, I knew, I'm gonna massacre her name if I try to say it, but we knew her face as someone
mhm,
who's Bahamian, as someone who's done brand campaigns locally, as
mhm,
someone who does very well in that arena. I think she's an aspiring actress, or is actually an actress. She has gotten gigs, and so we know that face. And then there was another face there that we didn't necessarily know, but at the same time, like you said, the models were well chosen. And like, speaking from another perspective of myself, like when I launched the boutique, I'm like, I am in a foreign place. I don't have the connections, but that's a brand strategy for some people. She's looking at me like, what's that mean? I was thinking to myself, I can't model these clothes. Like, I
you can,
gained this, I gained these quarantine pounds, and I'm and so it's like I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
but
mm-hmm,
you have that big opportunity and you have this great space over there where you can go to a nice building with a blank wall, put on your clothes and take those pictures.
that's
But I
true.
didn't have that opportunity. I couldn't do that. And it's not even eating. Don't worry about those quarantine pounds. People like you looking for persons to places to buy. And if it looks
Mm-hmm.
good on you, then it looks good on her and so many other people.
Yeah.
I think too, for me, I wanted more of a curvier person. I wanted persons who can be different because I don't want people to be like, oh, Thea only buying all these sexy clothing. They can't fit me. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really matter. People like what they like, and that's just what it is.
So, okay, so you decided that you didn't even do a lot of flat layers, I think. You
No,
leveraged you just used models. All of your clothes was model based. Was that like
yeah.
a conscious decision? Was that an Otishka decision to say, no, we're going to do flesh and blood? Like, what do you think in terms of that aspect?
For me, I didn't want flat lays because I wanted people to really see what the clothing looked like on the body. In addition to that, I wanted e-commerce versus pictures with a background. E-commerce usually are pictures that have more of a blank space behind the person, so that if you look at any of Forever 21 or anything like that, you may find that they have a lot more, as when you swipe through the photos, that the photos will either be on a mannequin or they'd be on a body with a blank space, depending on what you're trying to give or show. So I did e-commerce and product photography e-commerce plus model photography, professional photography. The e-commerce photography, it's good that you can, if you can find someone who can give you e-commerce photography at a really cheap price, I think it's really, it's
Worth
good.
it.
It's worth it for the website. It's worth it for people to see what the clothing looks like and fits like. But you can also use yourself. You don't have to pay a model. If I was there, I probably would not have used models. I would have,
Done it yourself.
yeah, I would have done it myself. And because I feel like you don't have to spend that money, especially in the beginning. But because of the pandemic, I was like, let's just do it.
So the pandemic isn't over, and we have people on the line who probably do want to launch a business, whether it be a boutique or whatever it may be this year. So what tips do you have for them in terms of making stuff happen in the midst of a pandemic?
Internationally or locally.
Both. We are
Okay.
global. We are a global economy now.
The tip that I have is to build a following. I think that's what helps me a lot. It's very hard nowadays too, but businesses can also be a following. And what I mean by that is a brand. You build a brand. Even if you don't want to put your face out there, if you want to start your shop, I like Wifer's concept too, because even though you're the face of Wifer and stuff like that, you're now creating Wifer Boutique. I think Wifer tells a story. You don't want to just sell to a person or say, hey, buy this shirt, buy this shirt, buy this shirt. You want to sell a story. You want to sell a brand to the person. So Afro Chill is a brand within itself outside of Thea Ebony. And that's the advice that I would give. So if you're going to start something, anything, tell a story behind what you're doing or with the brand. So, everybody sells makeup. You're going to now have to create your own story, create your own looks, whatever it may be. If you have specific palettes and everything, make sure everything falls under your name as well. It's really cute, cutely covered. What she's going to sell under that brand. She's coming up soon, but what she's going to sell under her brand. Very nice, attractive clothing that is cute and covered. That's how I feel when I look at the brand. I really like that. So you really have to tell a story behind what you want to sell. If you want to sell edgy stuff and Edge Couture is your name, make sure you give that edge feeling because you want people to, I guess connect the dots.
Definitely.
That's it. Yeah.
My kids, I trust me. These cats literally train me for parenthood because they break up stuff, and you just have to have a sense of humor. But anyway, I just want to know if we have any questions. I have come to the end of my list of questions that I had for Thea. Do we have any questions?
When you find doing your YouTube intro.
If not, let's do something cool. So this will benefit me too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a live demonstration of, let's say, what I need to change on my Instagram and what I need to change. Let's do a live demonstration of what I need to change on my Instagram.
You as in Wifer or Zemi?
Me as in Zemi.
Gee, let me check. See, but you already have it together.
No.
Okay, born to inspire, your location, married.
Waiting for those questions.
I personally don't see a highlight. Do I see a highlight here for Wifer?
No.
I don't see a highlight for Wifer.
Mm-hmm. So I will do that. I'll do a highlight for Wifer. Okay. So moving on to the boutique.
Okay, so let's.
I know she can tell me like 5 billion.
No, it's not. Because you already create your story. It's not like random. So I feel like Wifer Boutique, anytime you tell your followers, hey, check out Wifer Boutique, we already make that connection between Zemi, who's married, Zemi's brand, Wifer. You've been pushing it with so many different thoughtful, and these lessons and talks are really, really good. So I personally feel like you've done. And by the way, I think this is really good because you're bringing out this Wild About You collection, I think. That's what
Yes,
it's
I
called.
did. Yeah, which I have one tonight.
Okay, so the Wild About You collection, I can tell that there's a lot of print. So I know that because I follow you. So I feel like you
Hmm.
tell a story already with your brand. And I don't
Okay.
feel like you're too far off at all. At all. I don't
I
feel like
just
you're
need
far
to
off.
thank you. So, what do we talk about? What you have going on? Because you actually launched like a branding boot camp. That's that's what I'm gonna call it. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how people can find you, how people can connect with you. I don't see any questions. Thank you, Priscilla, from joining from Instagram. Thank you, Bodine, for the feedback. Thank you, Tiff. Virtual hug. Thea, I would pay for this info if I were specifically a newbie. You dropped all the knowledge. So yes, let's talk about this Facebook group that is about to get all of our lives together for 2021 in terms of
Oh,
quality content across our social media platforms, because that's what you do better than so many people. You actually do quality content. You don't just drop something, and that you do quality content. When we see something on your page, it's going to
you
be high
know.
quality. So let's talk about this Facebook group, how people can follow you, connect with you, etc.
Okay, so the Facebook group is called I sell nail products. Okay, the Facebook group is called Build Your Brand by Thea Ebony. I did that because I always get questions about branding. Always. It may not even be about Afro Chill, but I will say that Afro Chill was also a part why people ask. Yeah, so with Build Your Brand, Thea Ebony, I want to assist and make it more of a community. I don't think that I have not tapped into that side of doing more communicative content with persons. I have not been that. I don't even do Instagram lives like that because I have not. That's just not me for right now. But that is going to entail help, one-on-one conversations. I want to do one-on-one calls eventually. I want to then leverage that to sell ebooks and probably help detailed help in detail group. If you want me to look at your Instagram, I can look at your Instagram. If I feel like I'm also going to give a lot of digital tips as well. So all of the easy apps like Canva, Over, things like that, we will go through all of those tips as well. They are very basic apps. I feel after you've gotten into it, you don't have to pay someone to do all of your digital work. I can't hear you, Sam.
I said everything here is Canva. This Wife Her Live, I did that in Canva and I just made the background transparent. So it's really a great tool.
Canva actually helps with almost everything for Afro Chill. When I made that logo on Wix allowed me to download that logo in about 6 ways, just given a tip. It gave me all of the PNGs, my actual logo color. It gave me PNG, and PNG meaning a transparent background, or all of those. It gave me about 6 different types of the same logo, and that is very important. So even if you're reaching out to someone digital and you want them to make a logo for you, make sure they hand over all of those types of files, not just the flat logo for you. You're going to need a PNG. You're going to need it, like I said, transparent backdrop, different colors, maybe black and white, maybe metallic and white, or metallic and black, things like that, so that your logo can be transferable. I use this logo, Afro Chill, and let me tell you, when I made that logo and Rix did that for me, that was such a benefit because I use that logo literally everywhere. I did it when I designed the neck tags. I did it now when I want to send over things for clothing designs. I used it for my packaging. I uploaded one of those logos for packaging. It just depends on what you want to do. It's very, very possible to do it by yourself, and you can save a lot of money once you put your head in the game and start to practice digital design. Mute.
You put a lot of thought into what you execute. And I think that's important. Someone like me who's so impulsive, I talked about last week. You guys can watch the video last week where I talked about some of the mistakes I made ordering boxes that were the wrong size, like a whole bunch of craziness. But I see some questions coming through. And so I'm gonna get into those. So someone says, sorry, I sell nail products. I've been doing this for about a year, and I feel as though my business is not where it should be, as I end up spending a whole heap on shipping and I have issues saving. How can I improve sales?
Okay. You want to improve sales, or you want to try to decrease your shipping costs? See, because you may have pretty good sales and you may not even realize it because you're spending so much money in some other area. You can look at all of your areas where you're spending a lot of money, but also if you want to make a lot more sales and reach a lot more people, I think you should make a nail brand. If you're selling nail products, try to sell, like I said, sell a story. And it may not be just pictures of people's nails or pictures of the product. What you can do is basically get in people who you know do really good nails.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Zemi is now using me as someone who can come and talk about the brand, and now wife her, it's behind her wife her brand. So it's very important to now collab with persons. And you may not want to spend the money. Some people may charge, some people may not charge you, but you can find persons who do really good nails, have an okay following, and let them talk about your brand. And you can go live on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You can now even take a picture with them. They can use your product and repost it. That is a good way to help you improve sales.
A lot of also how to save.
How to save, like I said, maybe you have to scale back on. Maybe you may need to find another supplier for the cost of shipping. You may need to find a way where and as a Bahamian, it's very, very expensive to bring in specific stuff. So, for example, everyone knows someone. Let's be honest. Everyone knows someone. And if you do know someone who lives in the US and you got this amount of product today, and you have, and I know, maybe I may need some more product in another month. Try to see if you can order double product so you don't have to overspend on shipping, because sometimes people may buy as they need it. But then again, you may not have to spend more. Right. You may not have to spend any more on shipping for the next 3 months if you organize the way that you're going to buy these items, especially nail items. And then shelf life, look at shelf life, how long you may be able to keep it, because you may be able to have nail products for a year. You understand? And sometimes as a Bahamian, I know it's really rough, especially for shipping, but you really got to put your head in the game. You need to write down these shipping companies' costs, if that's what you got to do, to really see who charges the most, or you may be charging too much to the shipping company that you're using to clear your items. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So different things you're going to have to do to see how you can save money during the pandemic. And to save money as well for promotion wise, try to get more into using and designing your own promotional items. So all of your digitals and stuff, try to get involved. You may know someone personally who can help you with it. Get involved that way. Begin to post, link up with people, and if you increase sales, you may now save a little more. And then maybe you need to look at your markup. So, for example, like Demi was mentioning about all of the details, like all of my private labeling, I use models, I did this, I did that.Maybe you're charging a little bit too cheap for the amount of shipping that you're being charged. You need to include that in your markup. If your shipping is high, mm-hmm. you need to go up on your price if you notice a certain thing. And if your price is higher, then that means you have to market it a different way. That means you need to probably market this nail polish like this the best nail polish, and this is luxe nail polish. You understand? Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to market it a certain way because you need to make your profit. Because you may be selling your product a little higher than other people are selling their product. You understand? Or perhaps you can do drop shipping if you want to ship abroad, I don't know. I think this person might be local, but you can even look into drop shipping so that you can have your items shipped all over the place and you may not even have to keep inventory on you.
We have this question here from Linquel. Please, I hope I said it right. How do you remain consistent with content in a pandemic?
I don't know if the pandemic really put a damper in my spirit about being consistent. Now for some persons it can be a mental thing with the pandemic, but for me it gave me a little bit more time because I have a full-time job. I get off a little bit more early now. I It's not as busy during the pandemic, so that is the way I keep up with my content. And anytime, even outside of the pandemic, it's really important to plan your content. So outside of the pandemic, when everything is busy and everyone is going all over the place and doing everything, it's very, very important to plan your content. If you plan your content, say every 2 weeks, you'll have something to post every 2 weeks. You mean every day during the 2 weeks. So it's very easy, I feel, to do so once you plan. If you don't plan, you will fail and you will fall into the grave of Instagram and social media. You're me on mute.
What if she means I'm not going anywhere? So I can't find anything interesting to post. So should she just pull up on a couch and do one cute little,
Depends on what you.
Sometimes that's the issue. Like people are like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything fun. How can I post fresh content? I guess you have to show your meals. You could show your nail polish. You could show you mirror photos.
That's how I feel when I do YouTube. Every time I do YouTube, I feel like I waste makeup. But you just have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it. It's your content. So you
get
got to
dressed up for the living room. That's what we're saying, Lynn. Get dressed up for the living room. Get dressed up for the camera, and then take it all off right after. So that's it. But I would say, like, one of our challenges for Wife Her this month is for you to have a headshot. So make sure that you have a headshot, professional headshot. Even Thea was like, Zemi, I don't have a headshot. Thea, go get you a headshot. Even though the picture you sent me is still good. It's still a good shot. So we can work with that. But ladies,
I really need one. Okay? Oh God.
If I want to call on Naisha to say, Naisha, I need you on the platform next week. Naisha gotta give me a photo. I need a photo for my flyer. If I don't have a photo for my flyer, I have to put up a stock photo. Like, I don't want to do that. So ladies, I'm telling you, I have a ton of speaking engagements plans for this year, and I need y'all to have y'all headshots ready to go. So that's just a tip from our homework assignment. Make sure that you have that part of your aspect of yourself crisp and ready to go. Especially if you're talking about entrepreneurship, still, even if your job, you don't have to be in front of stuff. You never know when you need it. For your LinkedIn, you're talking to Thea said that she uses LinkedIn to reach out to brands. You need a suitable photo for LinkedIn, right? Okay, so that is the end of our conversation. I don't mind taking another question if you guys have any questions, but that is the end of our discussion tonight. You can find us right back here on Sunday, actually, talking about real estate. For those who want to pivot into real estate, we're talking to Gina Presley. And then Thea would have mentioned Shanice Johnson, who is the owner of Cutely Covered, a boutique that expanded during the pandemic. This girl had like trips of trucks come in for her purchase, for her products, her clothing during the pandemic. She was able to expand. Naisha said, headshot ready, yes. And so, so we are talking with her. She's a mom. She's also a wife, and she's building a business. And so I want to thank you all for joining in tonight. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. And then we have Galentine's Day coming up next month. We have an event called Girls Night In. It is fully virtual. And, I am all about free content for the year 2021. I have committed to free content all year long, but we do need a seed every so often. So So I would appreciate it if you came to our event. The ticket right now is just $20. And what these funds allow us to do is to invite speakers on. We like to give our speakers a little thank you. I don't just tell people come to the platform to sit and talk with me and I don't give them anything. And so I would appreciate it if you sow back into us in that way. So that's just my tidbits. We're on Instagram at Wife Her Ministry. You can find us at www.wifeherministry.com. And then I am Zemi Regine on my socials. You can find me. I answer my DMs, always there for you. And so Thea, you can go ahead and let us know where to find you.
Okay, I also wanted to add, because I actually found the Influencer Marketing Hub. If you were interested in being an influencer and you need to reach out to brands, there is this tidbit, and it gives like at least 16 companies or online companies that you can use. You can probably screenshot that if you want to. Those are the companies that you can use. I have used Aspire before.
You're gonna have to
IQ.
screenshot that and then send it to me, and then I post it.
Yeah, but it's about 16 companies on here that you can use if you want to, have those companies and see what brands are on there. And you can just put in your information, and you can do probably some skincare if you do skincare, influencing or anything like that. So yeah, so my Instagram is Thea Ebony, as most of you may know. Also follow Afro Chill Loungewear. I'm wearing it now. Comfy. Also, I want you to stay, follow Afro Chill so that you can stay in tune for when we drop the spring collection. And I've already been sourcing for fall collection, because fall is going to be something differenter. Okay, it's going to be different. So I want you guys to make sure, follow Afro Chill. Put the notifications on for both of my pages if you wish. I'm also on YouTube, and I'll be starting content back with that. I just got a new camera, and I've been filming on my phone for years. So don't ever feel like you have to get what's in style to do anything. In addition to that, also follow the Facebook group, Build Your Brand. If you follow that Facebook group, there's a few questions. I'm going to add you to the group. You're going to have to add your email there. And if you didn't notice, that's another way that I decided to collect emails. So Build Your Brand is going to ask you for your email. So I'm going to collect your email from there. And this is how you tend to build your email list. So when you want to drop a product and you send them that email so they can buy, that's another way you can leverage by monetizing your brand. So follow Build Your Brand, and I'll be dropping a lot of digital tips there. Anything that you need, I'm free, and I will answer all those questions. And I'm so happy for Zemi having me here. And I felt so special to be among such, good people. I was like, okay, in the last email, but thank you all for coming. I appreciate y'all.
Definitely. I mean, it's been, like I said in the beginning, I went to school with Thea in grade 6. And so we have literally watched each other grow up. Both of us had not terrible, because, both of us from the island, and we have very, 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 very strong accents.
Very.
So we had to literally grow up and learn to, speak and change it up so people could understand us. Because at one point in my life, people couldn't understand me. And so, I thank you, Thea, for coming on tonight. It's been an honor to watch you glow up, and I continue to be inspired by you. And the best is yet to come. Soon, that job will be a thing of the past, and you will be 100% a strategist, entrepreneur, building this brand, Afro Chill, everything. So thank you so much for being on tonight. Thank you, everyone who listened. Thank you to those who are going to watch the replay. I am so appreciative of you. And make sure you subscribe and go watch some of our other videos, and stay tuned for our next one. Bye.
Bye.